business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome to Atlantic Television Network right here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. It's Atlantic Blowout today, this beautiful morning. And Atlantic Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network featuring chit-chatting and conversation on special interest topics, news events and stories through correspondent report, expert opinion and stakeholders analysis. Today we'll be looking at various stories making the rounds in Nigeria. And we have this one from Edo State stating Godwin Obaseki increases minimum wage to 70,000 naira.
In insecurity, Abuja-Kaduna Highway, bandits kill driver and abduct two.
And on fuel scarcity, NAN threatens mass action against fuel scarcity.
In tariff hike, Senate begins hearing on electricity tariff hike probe.
And on security, adopting state police non-negotiable, XAIG.
Corruption investigation, CSOs query EFCC for breaching Child Rights Act.
Bajabiamila, publisher admits fabricating story, seeks forgiveness.
On corruption, apologized or face legal action, sports minister.
We will be taking a short time out now. When we come back, we'll introduce our guests and dive straight into the stories. Please stay with us.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
Welcome back. Joining today's conversation on Atlantic Blowout is the Chief Magnus Edoho.
Yes.
Edo. It's quite a pleasure having you come
Thank you.
here today
It's a
and
pleasure
join
too.
today's conversation.
Thank you.
All right, to the stories. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki increases minimum wage of workers in the state civil service to 70,000 naira. Obaseki disclosed this on Monday at the commissioning of the Labour House built for the organized labor in the state. The house was named after a former governor of the state, Adams Oshomole. Obaseki said his administration would increase the new minimum wage for the state's workers from 40,000 naira to 70,000 naira. He promised to increase the monthly salary of workers to over 70,000 naira if the federal government approves a new minimum wage for its workers. Now, what is your take on the increased minimum wage in Edo State, moving from 40,000 to 70,000 naira, which is way above the federal government's minimum wage at the moment?
Okay, for me, I don't like a political statement coming from governors that we talked about maintaining this minimum wage, but workers will end up crying. So I believe in actions. It's not that I don't sing praises to him by saying that he's going to increase it to 70,000. And there's a clause. They say, if the federal government. So for me, let me thank him for the bold step and courage so that other governors can take a leap at it and look at the suffering in the country. It is something every government must look at the welfare of their staffs, of their workers. Because the workforce is what gives them support as politicians.
Okay, now he has increased it already. It's not going to. It's an increment that has already been done for the workers there in Edo State, which is different from what the federal government has done for the workers in general. So
governors will make statements,
okay,
and we start praising them, thanking them for what they have done. At the end of the day, the workers will be still saying that there's nothing like that. So we want to see workers in Edo State celebrating these 70,000 naira increments. That is where I can boldly say, the governor, you have done well. But for now, it's still a political statement.
No, it's not a political statement.
To
You
me,
already gave us a date.
Okay, yes.
That it will be take effect from 1st of
May, yes.
So there's already a date.
It's
congratulations
1st of May
to
is tomorrow.
to the workers in Edo State.
So let's take a look at how this will get to.
Congratulations to the.
Let's look at the impact that this would have on the workers in Edo State.
Of course, every increment has a tremendous impact on every workers. You know, the economic of this country. So if 70,000 from 30,000 to 70,000,
40,000,
40,000 to 70,000, it's very tremendous. It is going to impact the lives of those people. The market women will enjoy it. The common people in the state will enjoy it. But again, I want to look at it from this angle. In his budget, this year's budget, can he accommodate this huge increment that he has just done? That's why I talked about political statement at times. I don't take it serious from politicians, because if this will happen, or is that sudden increment in the internal generating revenue as we are expressing here in River State. So we still need more in days to come. The implementation is on the 1st of May. A few hours from today,
yes,
we'll start celebrating that.
So let's watch and see.
Let's watch and see. It's a good one. I must commend these bold steps to ensure that the workers have been taken care of in his state. And again, I just want to thank him in unifying people politically in Edo State. You know, the problem he had with his predecessor, Adams Oshomole. So coming out to name facilities after the Senator Adams Oshomole, it showed that they are in. There's peace, there's unity in governance in Edo State. It's a very good one for me. I commend him for that. But for the minimum wage, let me congratulate those people.
Before, I like the fact you're congratulating them now instead of saying, let's wait to see. Because a lot of us have that ideology. Once the government says something, we just be like, okay, until we see the implementation, we're not going to believe what they are saying.
Let him this time, let him show working, yeah, of course.
All right, let's go on to the next story. This one talks about bandits. Say bandits kill driver identified as Danladi Job and adopt 2 others along the Abuja-Kaduna highway. The incident happened around 9:33 p.m. at Dogonfili, a few kilometers away from Jera town. A resident, Yahuza Al-Hassan, told newsmen. Al-Hassan said the bandits suddenly emerged from the bush and opened on the car, killing the driver instantly. The deceased was returning from a neighboring village market. And the bandits, after killing the driver, now went after the man who is a farmer and dispossessed him of 980,000 naira cash before they now whisked him away alongside one other person from the car into the bush, he said. Now, what is your take on the current insecurity bedeviling the country?
It's a very sad situation, very sad indeed. Then I want to, let me condole with the family. Yes. Every day you wake up, you hear about killings. And all the securities agencies keep recruiting. And you ask yourself, where are these people they are recruiting? Because they are to protect our lives. That is why our taxpayers' money has been paid to security agencies. And every state government goes on with security votes. So what are the security agencies doing in ensuring that they reduce this insecurity? And I want to ask these questions to Nigerians. We are talking about cashless policy. Look at the huge amount of money the man was moving with. Does it mean that somebody might have given information to this bandit that this man is carrying huge amount of money? And as a result of that, they need to attack him to get the money. Or it's one of those that they just target anybody they see on the road. I think the security agencies, they need to do more to ensure that we can sleep in 1 month and we don't have cases of insecurity. Bandits killing people every day. This is the one that they just captured. You don't know the one that just happened now, somewhere else in Nigeria. And it's worrisome.
So how can these security agencies do more, in your own words, in your own opinion?
They should reduce some security people attached to prominent individuals. Common people need to be protected, not prominent people that is moving with bulletproof cars. You see senior people that can buy SUV of any amount, still moving with security men, about 15, 20 per one person. And we know how many numbers of policemen or any other sisters security agency we have in this country. They are to protect common people. They are to protect everybody. We have equal right of protections. But when you see commissioners of police will be dispatching his men to protect politicians, like I'm a traditional ruler, I don't have any police around my house. We live in the village. You see, most of these people attack our common people, farmers. People, look at the common driver. Look at just a driver that came out to look for what to eat. It was shot, dead. There's no police architectural informations. There should have been an informant that will inform police. And even the informant, if they are trying to do their best, they are being exposed. You cannot just call a security officer and say, I'm seeing something within Akbajo or anywhere. They will review your identity in the next 2 seconds and you will be killed. So these are what they need to work on. These are sensitizations. The police security apparatus within the country need to sensitize their men, protecting those that give them informations. If you protect me as I'm giving you informations, I will give you more. But since I feel less protected, I've seen people they just kill without you can see people they just killed you because there's a leakage somewhere. And we talk about protection of whistleblower in this country. I think that has been passed into law that you protect the whistleblower. And who are the whistleblowers? Are common people. the common villagers, the women, the market women, they can give you information. But once they are not protected, it becomes an issue. So the security agencies, I know every Monday, there is what they do, they call security briefed. Every Monday you see policemen, they have been briefing their men. You know, there must always be bad eggs, but I think we can eradicate bad eggs from good eggs. So let us have good eggs all around, because I don't believe that there are policemen that are not well trained. Now their salary has been increased, so they are well fed up, even though it's not enough. But you need to do your job. Reduce some men you attach, you know. I saw one small boy yesterday somewhere I was going to, about 5 policemen escorting that small boy, a little boy, teenagers. You know, he might have been a son of one of the big.
That every part of the police carries a gun. I do not see it necessary, because not every citizen is a criminal.
For security?
Not everyone. There are other things that should be carried, that can be carried, but guns.
Are there other things that can be carried?
Of course, for traffic security.
They carry batons.
Yes.
You know,
so do you
there
think?
There are intelligence that don't carry guns.
Exactly.
You know,
so
there are a lot of intelligence. There are some units that don't carry guns, but they're intelligent.
It should be. It's obvious that it is not compulsory
for them to
have guns.
Of course, it depends on where you are being trained. You know, we have technicians as politicians. We have mechanics as police officers. We have those that are in office doing some credit card jobs. You don't carry guns at that instance. Okay. But when you are assigned for a special duty, you need to move with gun and bullet. And that is it. So they are not enough. Where are they? Where are the police officers that they recruit every year? They recruit them. And after recruiting them, they assign them to politicians. That is the issue. Not that the figure keep increasing, but personnel are absent in protecting lives and properties. The one you see on the road, yes, they are good. On the road, they are present on the road, reduce crime.
Of these roadblocks and these security personnel deployed.
You know, if you look at the geographical areas of some states, there are areas you can drive long kilometers, long miles before you see one building. I think in the south, in the southern state, you don't experience such mostly. If you are coming from Delta State, driving into Port Harcourt, the distance where you can start seeing building are not much. But if you go to the north, you can drive hours without seeing a building, and you are accessing another community. You can drive in hours, hours. In Kaduna in particular, there are communities you drive hours. So, stationing policemen there, it is not bad. That is why the security agencies, they do what we call security checks. They do intelligence. They know where to deploy and how to deploy. I have not to tell them, deploy more to the east or the west and the south. Everywhere is unsaved. Every part of this country is boiling.
But there seems to be a high rise on banditry
yet
in the north.
Of course.
Apart from banditry, other very pronounced security issues. So do you not think that there's a need for more security personnel to be put, especially on the highways? There's a need to center and focus those personnel on these highways in the north.
If you are traveling to the north, you will still see a lot of roadblocks, joint task force. You will see the military, the police, all forces at a particular spot. What happened in the next spots? Are you getting me? What I think the police should do is to create intelligence within the community people, within the people living in the community, that they can give you security. That's why we talk about state policing.
Okay, so we'll get to state policing.
You get me? So when you have people that can give you information, as I'm sitting down here, anything's happening in my community, I have those that will give me information. I don't need to be there. I have those that will give me information. That, Chief, look at what we are perceiving that can happen, and I will take action immediately. I don't need to be there all the time. So I have set off my information how people can get close to me, to police officers or any agencies that are there to protect our life, because I think including road safety, they are also there to protect lives on the road. They have a job to do on the road. I've seen them arresting people with some illicit drugs, doing the job of NDLA. We have a lot of them on the road. So these are to reduce crime. So if everybody is doing what they are employed to do, this insecurity will be things of the past.
You also mentioned training.
Training. I'm talking about regular training, different tactics. These criminals, they have different ways of attacking people. So also the police officers or any other security agency should also design a technical way of approaching these criminals, because these criminals keep attacking people, and almost of these cases they did it successfully without any attack. So I think it is a day-to-day activities. Keep orientating the police officer the best practice on how to approach. Early response is what we are talking about. It's not after the incident you see police van coming. What are you coming to do? After they might have killed everybody in the community. And in worst cases, they still make arrests. They will still arrest people and force you to say what they want you to say, which also me, I'm against it. Before you parade anybody, you must have finished your investigations. You must have finished your investigation. Hand over such person to the judiciary to prosecute that person. Then when you are parading that person, we should all know that it has been found guilty in committing this crime. We have seen cases where you just see people being paraded. That we caught you yesterday, you were doing this, you were doing that. At the end of the day, we will know the outcome of the investigation. Some of those people are innocent. So I think their intelligence, building their networking, building strategies, how to cope this menace this insecurity that is almost bedeviled everywhere in this country. So my response to your question is that training should be offered.
Training should be offered.
Yes.
And let's also look at their arms now, because we're looking at every aspect of it. We're talking insecurity here. So let's also look at their arms. We've had cases where the police is called for a particular operation. Maybe something wrong is happening, and then we hear things like, oh, the equipment, or should I say the arms that these people are carrying actually maybe bigger or more than what our policemen have. So let's also look at that before we move on to something else.
I think within the time, the Inspector General of Police, let my focus be on the police.
Yes.
Because the soldiers, they are doing their best. Because if you look at the soldiers, they don't carry huge magazine. You don't see long magazine with soldiers. They only carry one gun, and they can tactically attack thousands if they need be. So why can't they train? I know the security, the police are for defense. They are not for war. But you also see where you see some big men are also moving with army. And I don't see where they derive that power and the law from. That you can move with any security agency you want. I think the police, if they were equipped, they can handle these things. So you are talking about arms, they have good arms.
They were provided with these people. You're saying it like the politicians just went there and took these people.
You pay their money and you get what you want. And it's not ought to be like that. It's not because I want police now. It's any police, any number I want, I just pay because I can foot the bill. You just assign them to me. No. The international best practices say out of 10 persons, one police. Or let's say 100 or 50 persons, one police. In the case of Nigeria, 1,000 in one police. So they have good guns, but the methods of attack is what they should train them on. Have you not seen Goliath with catapults? David with catapult and killing Goliath with...
Are you suggesting catapults?
Because it was well targeted. It was well trained. The target didn't miss target.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter even though you carry the highest gun or anything, you don't know how to apply it. The man with the minor arms can still attack you. So the method should be on proper training. When to apply gun. They have, you can see them with different arms, you can see them with guns, you can see them with jackknife, you see them with different things. So when to use knife and time to use gun in that aspect. You see some with dogs. There are different tactical units in police that they do these jobs. Let us also encourage them so that they can do it more. It's not about carrying higher sophisticated guns and you don't know how to apply it. The big ammunitions, all the kind of AK or that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about well-trained police officers that know when to apply and when it is necessary not to apply, because we've been hearing a lot of accidental discharge.
Okay. Retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, Ambrose Asaibo, says adopting state police is non-negotiable. According to him, the clamor for state police raged over the failure of the federal police. Reports that the discussion on state police has been revived recently, with President Bola Tinubu and state governors supporting it. Asaibo, in a chat with Newsman, said state police is imperative due to the new dynamics in security. He said the argument is that the state government
of a particular state, like the retired AIG mentioned, it talks about salary being paid. State governors purchase those vehicles for them for an effective policing and effective operations so that they can police the states. When we talk about state policing, it's not about different set of police. It's the same police, but let the state manage their affairs. So I'm also in support of state policing. Reason being that, for instance, before you can do anything about policing, you need to apply to the AIG, to the IG, through the Commissioner of Police in the states. And at the same time, frequent changing of Commissioner of Police in some states also increase insecurity in some states. It lasted for some couples of months, unlike what we used to have before, where they change them more often. I know it's not yet to political time. Maybe we will see a different games altogether. So why can't you allow the state police to function? In the United States and other civilized clients, they have state policing, and there's nothing, you cannot completely eliminate crime in the society, but however, it is to reduce it to a barest minimum. So the fear of politicians using it, it's not, for me, I don't think it's necessary.
You mentioned earlier, well, was it our first story, you talked about politicians having a lot of policemen to themselves, rather. And you also talked about, having the army, and that already sounds like misguided. So it's already stated here about misusing the state police if it is allowed in Nigeria. That's the state governors now. So what's your take on that?
I think everything, the way police are structured, they have their rules of engagement. They have their code of conduct. So if I'm applying for a police politicians, no, I think the job of the police will always be more community-based. It will be more community-based. They will be more focusing on a particular state. You are in Rivers State, serving Rivers State as a police in Rivers State. As Rivers State are paying you with their tax and hard-earned money to protect lives and property in Rivers State. So I cannot see where politicians, if the police know their rules, know what to do, don't assign more than 10 persons to one particular individual if you know the police available are not adequate to take other responsibilities.
So what's the guarantee that it will be different if it's state police this time?
If they cannot control it now, if they cannot control it now,
so how would they control it when it's...
Let's have it first. Let's have it first.
So we should have it first
before
we look at solving the problem?
No, let's have it first, because if we have it, the benefit is huge than just what we are looking at. The benefit will be huge.
We're still going to have the same case of hands not being enough, like you stated.
I think if they have state policing, manpower will be increased. I think so, because the state have power based on their
recruitment.
Based on not only recruitment, based on their financial capability, because you think about payment of these people.
Currently, the police has issues with payments. There are a lot of things that are not being done for the police force. So stating that the state's government will be able to cater for the needs of the police, do you not see it as not being accurate? Because currently there's a challenge with provision for the police, even with the interference of both the state government and the federal government in taking care of the affairs of the police.
I think we had different police reforms in this country, several police
Can
reforms.
we say that these reforms have been implemented successfully?
Yes, let me also say that the past administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, he did wonderfully well to the police officers in this country. Because I think as at the time he was still the president of this country, the increment and prompt payment of police officers up to this moment. So if a sergeant is earning certain amount of money, I know it's not enough. I know it's not enough. If they're earning certain amount of money, let us go back to some state agencies, some state ministries that the state take care of.
Now that you have stated it is not enough, yes.
It's not enough.
Okay.
You know, it's not enough. Okay. But that does not mean that they will not do their job professionally. They ought to do their job professionally. If you don't want to do a particular job, you resign.
So do you see an increment in salaries of these policemen with state policing?
The issue is not about salaries. It's not about salary. It's
present issue?
It's not about
the issue that would see after state
the issue
policing?
we see if there is state policing. It's not about salaries. But what I'm talking about is about commitment of the police officers to do the job they are being employed
That's
to do.
on one side. You know,
Good.
one of the issues some workers have with doing their jobs is that they're not adequately paid. You know, someone will sit down and I'll say, after going out of my way to do all of these things, how much do I get at the end of the day? That's why I'm asking that question. So do you see that increase? And don't forget, secondly, we have had cases of state workers for state governments complaining about salaries not being paid, you know, even pensioners and all of that. Don't you see us having those issues with state policing?
Are we not having such issue in ASU? It is not managed by federal government, some universities. Still, the issues still happen in federal agencies that they've been managing. There are a lot of issues. You'll be hearing about strike or all that. These are institutions managed by the federal government. So it cannot be different from state government. But what we are saying is that if we have state policing, lives and properties of individuals can be adequately protected. And I don't think there's any state governor. You know, the last time the state governors met, they also agreed to some extent that they should have state policing. They know that they have the capability to handle it. So I'm not seeing it as a challenge at all. I cannot put it that it is a challenge that when he was still the governor of Rivers State. Ask me today, where are those boats? We cannot find anyone on the road, on the waterways. And criminals keep attacking waterways. You will only see gunboat, security gunboats protecting oil workers. But you see the women that are applying those local boats that are going to market, they attack them on daily basis. But if we have security in the state, the governor can just call, something happens so place on this waterway. What happened? But this time if you call, they will say, they refer you to Abuja. That the Oga said or Oga did not say. So that the people can actually get involved in policing. You know, policing is not about those that carry gun. That is one thing we should know. It's the business of everybody. You that give information to security agency are also doing the job of policing.
Okay, now speaking about maintenance, which you quite mentioned earlier, how can these equipments, these materials, these things given to the police force, to these security agencies, be adequately maintained by these agencies?
This is another...
Just like you stated concerning the gunboat situation. How can these donations made by the state government, the federal government, and even the communities that these security agencies serve be properly maintained?
This is a very sad situation we are having in this country. I'm bold to say that if you check the army, you can't see any of the. If you buy the same vehicle the same day with army and police, give them 1 week. In 3 days, police will misuse their own, and because nobody has been punished. They have procurement, they have maintenance department. What happened to those heads? They have what do they call? They have impress assigned for maintenance of those vehicles. We have cases where you call a police officer for prompt response to security issues. They will complain that there is no fuel. Are you supposed to buy fuel by yourself, or they will provide fuel for you to do your operation? Visit Bori camps. You will see neat cars that are older than police vehicles. They still move and very neat. You don't see them dirty, because they have disciplinary measures to ensure that what you are to do, you will do it very perfectly well. They will discipline you if you did not do it. Who are to discipline an errant police officer that refused to maintain vehicle, but with my hard-earned tax, that because I pay tax? So what happened to it? I have right to ask questions. It is our right to ask questions. There was a time down for one, now you will not see it. Where is it? So lack of maintenance is the issue that we are having, mostly in police. Civil defense have been trying, have been monitoring their vehicles. We see them looking neat and they dress fine somehow. You know, they dress fine, you see them, they look very neat. But mostly it's only the officers that are good in police. I have many of them as my friend. Only the officers that you can confide some information in. So how come they cannot also train these recruits, these rank and file officers that are also my friend? How come they cannot train them well how to maintain themselves, dress properly, maintain the vehicle you are using, also ensure your gun is very good? Because we see cases where they want to fire gun, they kill themselves. You know, police officers have been killing themselves because they don't know that the gun they cock is already facing themselves. It happened in my area, in Tamban police station. A police officer fired himself. And at the end of the day, he lost the family and lost the society, he lost the community. So maintenance is what it should be, day-to-day activities of the security agencies. There should be law that if you give you a gun and you know that this gun is not functioning, don't use it. You can boldly tell, okay, this gun is not functioning, but not that they don't throw one, give you. You don't even have time to check. You are there on the road. They give you key. You don't know whether that motor have brake or it doesn't have brake. You are there on the road. Every time you are in hurry. At the end of the day, you make government giving unnecessary expenses to where they ought not to have spent. If you talk about marine policing, go and see the gunboat on the road. Just try to go to Bonny. It is only LNG that have fine boats, the gunboat that protect their workers, because there's oil. So what happened to the common women that they are draining the oil from our communities?
Well, we've also had complaints of these vehicles being old and worn out, and that being the problem. But you're mentioning them not maintaining new vehicles. Do we have this coming in frequently, as frequent as they should?
Like I speak to you now, I'm very close to the Bori police stations. Bori police station, the current chairman of Kana local government bought some cars few months or thereabout to police for patrolling within the areas. You know, if you go to Bori police station, you will see a very fine Hilux parked. Go and find out what happened. Maybe very minor fault, and it's parked. Even the new DPO of Bori, he spent his money about $1 million plus. His personal money. It ought not to be like that. His personal money is going. Who is checking whether this money has been used for maintenance of vehicle? I'm not talking about buying new vehicle when the one you have, you cannot maintain it. So maintain the one you have. Individuals have been buying vehicles for them, not only government officials or government.
All right. So at this point, we will go on a short timeout, and when we return, the conversation continues. Please stay with us.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on
Welcome back. The conversation on Atlantic blowouts is still ongoing. The National Association of Nigerian Students threatens to embark on mass action if the federal government fails to take immediate steps to address the current fuel scarcity in the country. The students' body also asked the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited Group Managing Director Mele Kyari to resign if he could not take decisive actions to resolve the fuel crisis. The association's Senate President Babatunde Akinteye on Monday in a statement stated that The fuel scarcity has left many citizens, including students, frustrated and helpless. And according to reports, Nigerians in Lagos and other parts of the country are currently struggling to get premium motor spirit, with many fuel stations under lock and key throughout the weekend. It was observed that the queues, which started last week, are yet to subside despite the assurance from the NNPCL that logistics issues causing the tightness has been resolved. Correspondents gathered that some fuel stations sell the product between 700 and 800 naira, giving black marketers another opportunity to extort Nigerians desperate to buy a litre at 1,000 naira or more, as the scarcity has also led to a hike in transport fares. Now, if these logistic issues causing these problems have been resolved, what then haven't we seen the changes yet, Chief?
You know that they have changed the NNPC to the NNPCL. Okay, so for me, it is a company on their own. They are no more regulatory agencies, because they are the regulating agencies. They should also do well by asking certain questions that we may not be privileged to get those answers. So for me, I will not say the students are wrong, but I don't think protest is the best approach in resolving issues like this.
What's the best approach in resolving issues like this?
Negotiations ever remains the best approach. You know, you must approach the negotiation, always the best approach. They should create an avenue where they meet the Mary Carey himself and his team of management to ask some certain questions. And students, they have right to ask questions, because this thing affects them directly, affect their academic work and everything. And at the end of the day, we are talking about poor performance of students. We cannot access class for throughout a sections because you couldn't have a transport fare to accept classes, and classes couldn't stop because you cannot come to class. Classes are going on. So it affects the lives of a student. Academically, those are serious issues. So I don't think calling on strike all the time, calling on strike, it's a means of also ensuring that some students, when you talk about strike, that is the language government want to hear. When you call on strike, they call you but I don't think it's the best approach. They should approach this matter in a way that every hands must be on deck, every stakeholder should sit down and talk about what is actually the problems. Because sometimes they mention logistics as a cost of it. How long can we be hearing stories? There was a time we had that they brought a bad fare. Up to today, nobody has been prosecuted. There are a lot of stories we'll be hearing about this fuel issue. So for me, I think my blame will also go for the Senate committee on downstream petroleum. What have they actually done? Because it's quite a long time we had from them. Quite a long time. They've not talked anything. Well, their oversight function is to checkmate these agencies and make sure they did what the law said they should do. The law says ensure that there is petroleum motor spirit. This one is PMS we are talking about. We're not talking about AGO. We are not talking about AGO. We are not talking about DPK. All these ones are issues that you find. Look at these facilities. You are burning diesel. You know how much per liter of diesel. And since people can afford it, nobody is talking. People can afford it, nobody is talking. If they have a majority of the AGO vehicle on the road, they won't be talking about PMS because you have alternative. But since the alternative to PMS is huge, we don't have electric vehicle currently as we speak, apply majority of our road. So I don't think protest all the time is not the best approach. Even students, even youth body, I don't accept all the time protest. We should negotiate. Out of negotiation and the government failed to implement any issues we have, then protest should be the last option.
Okay, now the students here have aired their complaints so far. How can the universities now come in to provide some sort of aid? Because this problem is as a result of increase in transportation. What aids can universities put in place to assist her students in making it to classes? Can policies be made for the drivers on price increment? Can certain subsidies be applied?
Hostels accommodations are not much available. I listened to the Vice Chancellor of Ajiru a few days ago. He was mentioning things that they want to the government, and I carefully listened to him. He was talking about hostels accommodations for students. I think this is where the state government, if it is the state-owned institutions, can come in, build affordable hostels for students. And again, some of these universities also admit more than their capacities. Because when I was in university, we found out that once you have paid all your fees, they allocate hostels for you. Do you understand? You are closer to class, you are within the environment, you don't pay much. That's why parents support students to get hostel accommodations. So this is the area I think universities should do well. They cannot talk to drivers, do you buy fuel for me? Can you tell me to reduce the fare? And you remember, in every campuses, the fare prices are different. Mostly in all campuses, if they are taking 100 naira elsewhere, in the university they are always 50 naira in some cases, in most cases, to reduce, to ensure that students can attend classes. These are reasons behind it. So I don't think they have such power to regulate how much a driver should collect from a student. They don't have such power. We all pray that the fuel price should reduce.
Usually, I know that there are usually different problems. You mentioned the bad fuel that we had at one point. I remember the effect that had on people's vehicles at that time. And now we're facing another set of long queues in various states in the country. And just like Divide asked earlier, even with the logistics problem that they have said has been worked on, or they're working on, we're still having the issue of fuel scarcity. Now let's look at the future. How do we prevent a reoccurrence? Is it even possible to prevent a reoccurrence of fuel scarcity in Nigeria?
It is to implement those policies. Government have different laws that they don't implement it. You see that the EFCC have been trying to do their job in some cases. You know, it's only high-profile politicians that they will only show their power on. What of those that are into these agencies? What have they done to investigate issues that can affect the common people? It's not about money laundering. We are talking about common people doesn't have fuel. Somebody is in charge of these areas. What have they done? Until they start prosecuting some people. Until they start arresting some people. We talk about fuel subsidy. We are talking about the other day. We are talking about how much they used in bringing in fuel and transporting all and that in billions of dollars. And up to today, nobody has been brought to book. So it will still be happening until the government take drastic steps in ensuring that their law had been implement some certain laws that say, don't do this. If you do this, these are the consequences of the law. And you being in that office, you know, if you divert fuel that's supposed to come into Nigeria to another country and sell in a black market to get more money, depriving the people, why is it that our refinery is not working? So if we are talking about the future to reduce this fuel scarcity, let the population 200
over 200.
Fine and good. The last census. Yes, good. So if you conduct another census, you know that another millions have been added. And that is the issue. So, and everybody want to own a car. Everybody want to own a car. So I think if they can work on the refineries we have, it will be the best approach in reducing fuel scarcity in this country. Not exporting fuel that you refine from here, you take it to another country and you bring it here. You know, you spend a lot of money. So these people that don't want this thing to work, the Crime and Financial Commissions, EFCC, should also divert their attention into these areas. Bring those people to book. It's not about only former governors or former ministers that you know that they are high-profile people. These are areas that affect people. So I think the best approach is that the right thing should be done by every agencies.
All right. Away from that, let us move on to our next story. This was talking about tariff hike. Senate begins hearing on electricity tariff hike probe. The Senate Committee on Power commences an investigative hearing on electricity tariff hike in the country. The investigative hearing is taking place at the National Assembly, Abuja. The Senate says it would punish anyone or agency found adding to the burden and sufferings of Nigerians. Speaking at the investigative hearing on Monday, Chairman of the committee, Senator Ainaya Ababribe, said the hearing was hinged on two motions presented at plenary on Tuesday, 25 July 2023 and Wednesday, 21st February 2024. He said the Senate, by its resolutions, mandated the Committee on Power to engage with Federal Ministry of Power, Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, and other stakeholders. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabo, and other top officials in the power sector were at the hearing. How will this get to affect the current electricity tariff hike?
It still boils down to what I have said so far about punishment, and the Senate should do their oversight functions. It boils down to this tariff hike because it doesn't come like a sudden. There are a group of people that sit down somewhere, do their mathematics, their calculations, look at the benefits to the country, because all of them will be talking about this is going to benefit the masses if we do it this way. They don't think of the effects on the masses. They will talk about, so areas that the Senate calling for hearing, calling for public hearing. For me, I don't ascribe to all those issues because they are part of the problems. They are part of the problem because none of them there that are currently using this electricity, they have power, standby power in their various homes. So either they hike it to any high level, it doesn't affect them.
So is that the problem?
That is the problem.
They are part of the problem.
They are part of the problem because they take lip service towards what affect common people. Are you understanding me? They don't take it serious. Okay, this was mentioned in July 2023, and the public hearing is coming up February this year. Maybe the next hearing will be next year, before we talked about inviting those people, because they have mentioned, they have said it, that they will take steps in punishing those, as if they don't know them. You know, they are deceiving me as if they don't know those people.
They know them.
How would they not know them? Are they not the ones that implement some certain things, those laws that those people are using? How will you be thinking that they don't know them? They know them, and they should invite those that are involved and question them. Starting making hearing, and we are paying. Common people are paying. You can't have access to. And again, the areas me I'm going to look at this tariff hike is when these regulatory agencies take over every area. We have seen where solar power companies are coming to an area to give them alternative power supply. But this regulatory agency will say, this is our areas. Don't give them. We cover this area. And the people there, you don't give them power. For instance, I've been in one function, one public hearing, where they were talking about one particular company wanted to provide alternative solar lights to a particular community. And these regulatory agencies, they call them NEPA, PHED, Port Harcourt on PHED. They are saying, that area will cover it. And without poles, how do you cover area that you don't even have poles? And we cover those areas, don't come in, because they have tried to see competitors. So I think alternative means of power supply will also reduce the tariff hike in this country. Because when you don't have alternative, you become the lord in the industry. So in few years to come, alternative means of power supply will be coming up. Will be coming up. And when we don't need your own, you'll be the one begging for me to buy. So I think they should encourage those other means of providing power supply to common people, so that the long time wasting in the Senate, listening to them, anytime they see they have allowances, so they create avenue where issues will come, so that they can sit down and start having allowances in talking, thinking that they are talking on my behalf. In most cases, they don't speak on my behalf, but they are there to speak on my behalf, because we represent the common people. They represent us. So I think
the electricity tariff is affecting the people.
Of course.
So if they're talking about it, who are they talking
for?
for?
I'm not saying that it is their duty to talk about it. It is their core duty to talk about it. But the time involved is what I'm complaining about.
Oh, all right. Now that this probe has begun by the Senate, what advice would you give the Senate as this hearing has just begun?
Of course, they should give rooms for people to present how we feel that it should be, and then give also room for whistleblower to mention some names to them. There are names of people that you don't just mention. It becomes an allegation. So at that allegations stage, the person that alleged that this is what happened should be protected. Not bringing that person to, it was you that mentioned this person, and we find out that the person didn't do this, so you should be punished. Sometimes they should allow the whistleblowing policy to come in the public hearing. So someone can submit a long document narrating what they think affects the common people in this hike in tariff. Hey, you hope you understand me. So the Senate should speed it up. They should speed it up in the probe. And Nigerians want to see the outcome. It affects everybody. If they don't know it affects them too, it affects their mother in the village. Because they cannot provide constant electricity to every communities, even though they have the money.
Okay.
All right, now we'll move on to the next story. Civil society organizations have criticized the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for its handling of sensitive information involving minors in corruption investigations. This criticism follows revelations regarding the children of Yahaya Bello, the former governor of Kogi State, whose identities were disclosed by the EFCC. Representatives from anti-corruption groups voiced their concerns during a press conference in Lagos, condemning the EFCC's breach of the Child's Rights Act. They argue that exposing minors' details endangers their safety and subjects them to unnecessary trauma, in addition to public and peer ridicule. The chairman of the Center for Anti-Corruption and Open Leadership, Kako, emphasized the ethical implications, stating law is about justice and justice about humanity. He stressed that minors should not suffer due to their parents' alleged wrongdoings. The organization cited Section 35 of the Child's Rights Act, which prohibits harmful publications about children, and criticized the EFCC for disregarding these protections. They argue that the Commission's actions violates national laws and international conventions aimed at safeguarding children. Following the conference, the designers and urged the Commission to refrain from sensationalizing its operations. Now, considering, okay, that's a wrong one now. Let's have your take on this particular story.
Okay, it's very sad. It's very sad indeed that the anti-graft agencies sometimes they deviate from their primary functions. They deviate from their primary function, their primary rules. Because, for instance, because I sit here and someone has issue before I came, you now start parading me that you am a culprit in that act the person did. Is completely wrong, and they should be sued for that actions. I think it is completely wrong by every laws and international regulations that the minor should be. It's a trauma, actually, an offense they never committed. It is not good at all. Even myself, I'm against EFCC parading a suspect without thorough investigation. It is completely wrong. You should investigate someone before parading that person. It's under investigations. So once you are under investigations, they should finish that issues before parading. They are always fast in parading someone. At the end of the day, some court will restrain them. Sometimes they don't obey. In some cases, I've seen them not obey some court orders. And they choose the one to obey and the one not to obey. It is not good for our society. And minor rights should be protected. I've visited EFCC prison. I mean, their detention facilities. You will see minor that are there in their facilities.
Which is not right.
It is not
now,
right.
Now, how can minor rights be more protected here in Nigeria, especially with these agencies? How can they be educated enough? Because it's somehow, I feel like it's not like they're not aware, but these rights keep being trampled by these agencies. So what sanctions can be put to stop cases like this from reoccurring?
I think we thank the CSOs that gathered themselves to speak out, because they will continue to speak out at a time like this. But the Ministry of Justice has a lot to do. No, the Ministry of Justice has a lot to do, because the law is there, and then you know the punishments accrued to any actions that you've taken against any minor in this country. This one is not about abuses. This is also an abuse to a child. It is a right of that child for protections. And like you asked, I think everybody needs to speak out. You know, everybody needs to speak out. We have grown beyond where you can oppress a child because a father. You see some cases before. Police officers arrest parents because their child committed an offense and they couldn't. It is against the law. You know, you can't arrest me because my child commit an offense and you couldn't find that child and it's a minor. You'll be arresting me for questioning for issues that I cannot attest for. So the right of everybody, the right of everybody in this country need to be we have right for protections, either you are a minor or not. But the case of a minor, you don't need to trample upon that. And those people that they should tender apology within this piece of time to the children. They should tender an apology. There's no big man about when you commit an offense. They should tender an apology. And the EFCC chairman, I think he should resign, since he said that if he could not provide some certain stakeholders, people, he's going to resign. These are issues that is more dangerous than what he said, that he will resign if he cannot arrest some certain individual. And the person involved, you've not arrested the person. What concerns the children? You know, what concerns the children?
So besides the apology, what else can be done?
It should be prosecuted. Now, it's an offense. You have committed an offense. Is it because the EFCC chairman, he should be pardoned? Has he not seen what happened to other people that was there before him?
What sanctions do you recommend yourself?
The law is there.
Apart from the law?
The law spells out punishment for those that violate any minor rights. The law is there. No, it is the court that will interpret. Sometimes people carry out some certain action believing that they have grown the law, and they believe that once they get to court, they can play their way out. The judiciary needs to step in, and then their functionality as judiciary should be well known to us. Because some laws, the way they interpret some laws, it makes us confused. Because sometimes court of coordinate jurisdiction will be giving judgment, and it throws the country into confusions. Just like the case of Yaya Bello. This one is saying don't arrest, this one is saying arrest. It threw this country in confusion, and that's what led to these issues we are talking about. So after apology, the person should be prosecuted, because apology is not enough. It's not enough, because he is prosecuting those we believe that have stolen our money. Those that have stolen our money can come up and say, oh, I'm sorry. I never knew it was your money I stole, so just forgive me. We cannot just forgive you. There is a law that says don't steal. If you steal, you will be punished. And there's a law that says don't threaten the right of a minor. If you do, these are punishment. Either you go to jail or there is stipulated fine that you need to pay, so that you will serve as deterrent to others. We are not talking, these are high-profile people. What about the ones that they are doing in the community that we don't know? So CSOs like this should be encouraged to start speaking up.
All right. In light of the recent controversy surrounding the arrest of Segun Olatunji, the online publisher of a news agency by the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, on March 15, 2024. Further details have emerged regarding the incident. By the DIA was related to stories he published, including one concerning the head of the DIA and another involving the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila. Further investigation reviews that Gbajabiamila issued a letter to security agencies urging the identification and prosecution of those behind defamatory publications targeting him. The Defense Intelligence Agency, acting under its authority, investigated Olatunji and found him culpable of cyberbullying and cyber defamation. Olatunji admitted to being contracted by a former colleague, Rotimi Williams, to publish the full story about Gbajabiamila. He confessed to receiving payments for his efforts and apologized for the defamation. Meanwhile, efforts to locate Rotimi Williams have been unsuccessful thus far. Olatunji now faces potential prosecution under the Cybercrime Act. The Defense Intelligence Agency has shared its findings with sister security agencies for further action. While media organizations have condemned the militarization of civil issues, the matter has been referred to the National Media Complaints Commission for adjudication. Now, how can we prevent further occurrences like this of having publishers fabricating stories, the issue of cyberbullying and cyber defamation, especially with pronounced public figures and political office holders?
You see, the issues we have in this country is when, for instance, you are a journalist and then you work for some time for a particular known print media or whatever media, and then you discover that self-development is very important. You can start publishing your online. Who is regulating this? So many online media houses, I call them houses, or media platforms that are publishing unverified stories. It becomes an issue because sometimes you will see stories that you cannot verify, and that the culprits have also tendered an apology, accepting that what it is was wrong. But I think it is not enough. For me, it is not enough. First and foremost, let me digress a little. I have a friend that knows someone that he paraded as a medical doctor where he read banking and finance. And he has been carrying out some surgery operations, okay? And when he was caught at the Port Harcourt Military Hospital sometime, he pleaded that they should forgive him. At that instance, I was just telling my friend, forgive how? How about those people that might have lost their life in cost of you not doing, you are not a professional. So a professional journalist should not carry false information. Look at the amount that they say they paid him. You know, they mentioned some amount that they paid him, about 700,000 naira or thereabout. I think that cannot be him if actually they are going to prosecute him. So a case like this, it's not something that the person that is affected should immediately be calling police on all that. He has places to report to. You know, they have referred the matter to the appropriate quarter, and that is where it ought to have started from. Not just calling police to brutalize or start intimidating or harassing people that you felt that they have deformed your character or lie against you. I think there should be a quarter where we can always run to and say this media houses, look at what they did with evidence. They should call them to order, and sanction them. That is why every agency have their regulatory body that controls them. But even the online publications, they are still that they are tracking Mr. Rotimi that hired him to do the job, and they are unable to find him. But if it was employer or they have somewhere they are regulating him, it is easy to track him. So some people that are encouraging these online publishers that did not verify information before publishing it should also see that there is need not to encourage those people, because if they can do this to a high-profile person like the chief of staff, to the president, they can do it to any other persons. So the apology is not enough. The apology for me is not enough. He should be prosecuted. His apology is not enough.
Okay, now what kind of sanctions would you recommend for issues like this? Because right now, when it comes to social media usage, there's not exactly a law that hinders the use of social media. So for cases like fabricating stories, especially on the online space, what sanctions do you think can be put in place to avoid further occurrences?
Cybercrime is a very major crime. The EFCC has been taking this as one of their key areas. As they have EFCC have been taking this as one of the key areas in dealing with those that commit cyber crimes. It's not only those that are involved in financial crimes, but these new online spaces that are talks about, it's something that is serious. It's something that is serious, and we need to discourage those that are involved. We need to discourage those that are involved. He has been arrested. He will be sent to court. If it will be sent to court, I think the court will spell out appropriate punishment that due him. It will spell out appropriate punishment that is due him. But I also encourage those that are doing the right thing to keep doing it, and then don't just lie against someone because someone paid you. It is not good. It's not good. It's something we need to discourage.
So to avoid further occurrences, he would have to be made to face the law.
He will face the law. He will face the law. Even the other of his colleague that is on the run, he should also be arrested. It's like we face the law, because you can't give the public, the public that are reading your online news, you cannot give us information that is not accurate. You are feeding us with toxic information that can destroy the society, destroy the place. A lot of people have been in detention because of someone lied against them. And what of those that do not have money to defend themselves? Assuming the chief of staff doesn't have money to call for his arrest, we that have read this news, we believe that this is what happened. And we can never forgive him because we have seen him as a corrupt leader. Whereas it was a fabricated stories by some type of political opponent. So it is not good that you just did what you think from his conscience. He's blaming himself by accepting money. It is not good. This profession is a noble profession that people believe that what you are feeding us with, it is truth. Nothing but the truth. So at a point like this, since we have a regulatory body, and the online spaces, you see a lot of things. People should be careful about what you read.
Yes.
People should be careful about what you read. Like we are here now, we know that this is a known TV station, known all over the globe, and people are watching us. And anything you say there should be things that you know that it is true.
Factual.
Very actual, factual. And then must have done your investigations, and then before you come out in the print media to write. So the appropriate law will be, the matter will be already in court. They will take the matter to court, and I think his apology is not accepted. He should face the law.
Now, in the midst of a controversy, Sports Minister John Eno issues a firm ultimatum to former world boxing champion Bashali, demanding a public apology within a week for false accusations or face imminent legal repercussions. Ali's allegations, detailed in an open letter to President Bola Tinubu, claims that Eno demanded $1 million to endorse his proposal for staging Nigeria's oldest boxers fight. Eno's response, titled Confronting and Defeating Bashali's Serial Blackmail, carries a stark warning to the 68-year-old boxer: retract the claims or brace for legal action. The tension unfolds against the backdrop of celebrations surrounding chess master Tunde Onakoya's Guinness World Record-breaking chess marathon. Now, amidst the jubilation, Ali voices frustration, lamenting being hindered by unnamed individuals from putting Nigeria on the global boxing map. The controversy escalates as Eno's statement gains traction, emphasizing the gravity of Ali's accusations and the minister's determination to address them. And one would want to ask why this is coming now, but let's have your take on the story.
Okay, in the ministry, they have a lot of correspondents. That's where I will take it from. You have a lot of people, you will think you're talking to the ministers. You have a lot of people in that ministry. So you don't quickly write to the president complaining about the minister without coming out with evidence of his alleged involvement in denying you from certain things. So there are some things you need to come out with evidence. This is the voice record. This is the message I sent to him. Yeah, your responses. So that if the minister is culpable, he should also face the law. But if the minister is innocent, he is alleged that should prove, because it is also a crime. It is also a crime, because what he was trying to do is also to put Nigeria in the war map. That people should see that, yes, Nigeria have these people that have been success in their career. At this age, let's do this. It's a thing that we also put Nigeria in the high of the nations. That indeed, Nigeria have this kind of people still living. We have a legend like his type that is still living. But for him to have the access to Mr. President, why can't he request directly from Mr. President, so that Mr. President will direct the minister to effect his demand? So these are questions that we need answers. Okay, you meet Minister to do this, and you can also write to the president that this thing has started generating issues. People have started talking, and we are talking about it. Since you can still have the relationship to write to the president, which you have the ultimate power to give order for such things, because for me, I think it was a very noble steps. I think it was a very good thing that he has gathered to do. But the ministers demanding that kind of huge amount of money for what? This is corruption. This is corruption. And a lot of things goes on in this country. Sometimes if we deep more, it may not be true. And it can be true. So like the minister have threatened legal actions. Let's wait for the appropriate thing. Whether you will come up to say, I am sorry, or it did not get to you. But sometimes they make us confused. Because in a few couple of days now, the legal team will advise him, just tender an apology and he's going to forgive you. But that did not erase that from our mind. That a time the minister was alleged that he has demanded $1 billion. I think $1 billion. Yes, $1 billion from just to host something like that. It is a high corruption if it is true. You remember the other female minister that was removed?
Better.
Because yes,
humanitarian,
because there was evidence shown all over. There was evidence shown to Nigerians that you requested for this, and we saw it. This is the signature, this is the directive you give, and we saw that. We also need to see things like this so that we can be talking about it. For now, it's still allegations. For now, for me, it's still rumor. The minister shouldn't take it serious because they've not proved to Nigerians that actually he demanded for such money.
The minister should not take it seriously.
Yes, should not take it serious because he should also prove to us.
If you someone, this is an allegation.
Yes, it's an allegation
against him in the public.
Yes,
and you shouldn't take it seriously.
He shouldn't take it serious because for the person, he has right to go to court against the person that is deforming his character.
That's taking it seriously.
He has the right to go to court, but until the person prove to us, as if we should not take it serious, not the minister.
Okay.
We should not take it serious until the person, the Mr. Ali, prove to us that what he's saying is the truth. Then we can also condemn it, that the minister, you did wrong. But for now, I cannot complain. I cannot blame the minister that actually demanded.
Until there's proof.
Until there is proof. You know, the case of the humanitarian minister, there was proof shown to everybody. It was clearing that this is what you did. So in the ministerial operations, or as they do in the ministry, there's always correspondence. There is always who did he write to, who minuted it, who, all those things must have comes back to him that, look, the minister said this. Was there a phone conversations, or was there a message he sent to the minister? Was it the minister that was responding to him, or someone was claiming is the minister? Because a lot of things can go on wrong. Who was actually responding to him as claiming to be the minister? So at least you give us more information about it. I think for me, I will not take the issue serious until he proves beyond what you have just said, because he's claiming that they demanded money from him. Where are your evidence? And if there is evidence, then the minister has gone wrong.
So should the minister wait for the evidence to be exposed before go on?
The minister has every right to defend himself. He has every legal right to sue whatsoever until the court proves that.
So he should take it to court.
He should take it to court, not by sending security. I'm always against sending security agencies to bounce on those who think they may have aired their view concerning your public, what you did as a public office holder. I'm against it and I will condemn it. You don't just come and call police to start harassing people when you know you have a means of challenging your complaint, and they will carefully listen to your complaint and deal with the person appropriately. Because in some cases, we just see police bouncing into people's houses, breaking their houses. Sometimes they even climb the roof. Sometimes they will even break the roof, and some senior personality will be crying at the downstairs that they are in the roof. You see in the case of some senior former governors and all that, and some senators, they are police officers with judge. When you can always invite that person, the court will investigate and see that it is culpable on the crime. So in the issues of this, I think it's not because he's the minister. It shouldn't happen to anybody. You can't just allege and you don't prove. For me, I don't accept it. The person that alleged should prove, or you face the law. Because if he cannot prove, that means it's defamation. He's lying against the minister, and the minister shouldn't take it kindly. So the minister can go ahead to sue him. I know he will come out in a few days to apologize if what actually he was doing was lying. He was trying to draw attention. I have not read about this. I have not heard it for a long time. You know, maybe when he was fighting, I was still a small child.
Yes. He's a very popular, he's a very popular,
very popular
boxer in Nigeria.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Yes. I say recent time, I've not been hearing about him recently. Within this period.
Seeking for attention. Like
okay.
You mentioned. Some people are asking why is this coming now? Is it because of the recent Guinness Book of Records?
Yes. He mentioned it now.
Because there's been now a lights thrown into the sports.
And then maybe someone says, what's going on? We've been on this for some time.
Yes.
Maybe we should do a bit of boxing.
But it's not the best approach. It's not the best approach to call for media attentions, or the people should look at.
No, for Bashali to come out with this, it looks like he would definitely have evidence, because because this is a very serious allegation.
If you
I don't think anyone would just come out with the allegation. It's an open letter.
Of course.
He made it open for a reason.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
So I don't think anyone would just come out with. Do you think anyone would just come out with an allegation that's serious against such an individual without having evidence?
We have issues. We have cases that someone will just come up because they don't like your face or they don't like what you do, and they just say something. We have cases like that in this country. And that is why they have given him ultimatum, few days. If you don't prove, we take you to court. So the minister, I wait for the days that he has given. He has the right to sue. And the person that is coming out with open letter also know that I can be sued. So he will present his record in court, since he did not back it up to what he wrote to Mr. President. He should have backed it up. That look at this, to indict the minister more. But now, for me, it's still like other stories we've been hearing, defamation of characters. You know, the ministers has a right, like I've said, to sue him, and I encourage him to sue him. I encourage the minister to sue him, because they can do that to me. They can just say, oh, as a chief, we did this, and then you are not doing, they are not supporting me, you are not doing this. At the end of the day, it's complete lies. People have lied against me several times. But I have a forgiving heart. I can always say, let me forgive you. But to some extent, it is not good. It happens mostly in the religious sectors. You will see ministers of God, people just come out and lie. Just lie against them. Nothing happened. You just lie against them. Since they believe that the ministers of God in some cases will say, okay, let God handle it. It's not everybody that will say God should handle it. Some people will go to court. Some people will not even go to court. Yeah, some people will handle it, not God. They don't want God to handle it. So, in this case, I don't think it is good for Mr. Bashali.
It looks like Bashali is implying something. Now, let's look at it. Okay. It looks like he's implying that they're not doing enough when it comes to sports or boxing. What do you think?
Yes, if he's saying so, we will always say with him. It should come out with his proposal. How did he think it should have been done? First and foremost, you compare it with what is happening elsewhere, and this is how you want it to be done. If you want them to include him in anything that they are doing, to revamp the place, to make it viable the way he think it should be, is
that not what he did? And then he claimed that he was asked to pay a particular amount.
Remember,
that's when this.
What he did was fantastic. You get what he did was fantastic, but coming out to say that they demanded money from him, he should buttress more about that, because he have more to offer. He have more to offer. So for me, I don't think if you want a change, you should accuse someone because he wants a change. No, he should keep doing it. One day they will hear him out. That is my thought. One day they will hear him out. He shouldn't stop at that level. He should come out with new innovative ideas that can develop the boxing sector in the sport activities, so that the ministry will be moving forward, because it's the same Ministry of Sport that he will still be reporting to. If he's not reporting to the minister, he will still make complaint to the directors or permanent secretary in that ministry. So since he has started hitting from the head, he should continue from that level.
All right, it's been quite an interesting conversation with you, Chief Magnus Edo. It's quite